Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Anthony Cosenza here from Casa Realty Group, coming at you with one of our videos. It's been a little bit since we've brought you one of these, both because of the holiday craziness and all kinds of different reasons why. But we're coming back at you with a real estate market update for the new year. A lot of stuff going on. Some positive, some maybe not so positive, but that's okay. We're going to talk about a lot of different things, give you some storylines, some recent data points, and just all kinds of different information for you to digest as you look at the real estate market for 2022. Again, I want to remind folks, for all of your real estate needs, to be for resources of information, connections to other professionals, whether it be in the mortgage industry, home improvement specialists, any kind of things like that, we can be your go-to resource at Casabella Realty Group, and you can go to casabellarealtygroup.com for more information about our brokerage, check out what's going on in the market, and all kinds of different things. So be sure to go there for further information. And you can always contact us. You saw the contact information at the beginning, and it'll be at the end of the video as well as we exit on out of here. So definitely let us be a resource to you, whether you're looking just for some general information, you have a referral. We love referrals. If you need, like I said, home improvement specialists or any kind of information on that front, market information, buy, sell, lease, multi-unit properties, anything like that, we want to be there for you and help you out. So let's, as we usually do, get started with a lot of different market information. We've got some information on the mortgage side from one of our good friends. We've got some information from the experts over at Reports on Housing, and a lot of information there as the new year kicks off. And we've got a little bit of some sobering stuff to talk about, I guess, as the new year kicks off. But we'll get all into that right now. So for a variety of reasons, we don't necessarily like to talk a ton about the pandemic on these videos. We don't like to really talk a ton about, COVID case numbers, all that kind of stuff. But the reality is we're now 2 years into this thing. It has not gone away. Numbers are spiking and some people are getting sick, and everybody's trying to navigate things. And there's no doubt that in a lot of different ways, the pandemic, COVID, et cetera, has impacted the real estate market on a number of different fronts. So I want to bring up an article from Realtor.com that was recently sent our way from the big website, the national website. Now, this is, again, we tend to look at, and we're going to hone in on Southern California here. We do some national pieces of data and information. We do a lot of local pieces of information and data in terms of Southern California, Orange County. But this, Realtor.com obviously looks at more of a macro perspective in terms of what's going on nationally around the U.S. in the real estate market. But this was an article by Janet Sirotto. The new rules for home buyers and sellers in the age of Omicron, what to expect in 2022. Obviously, Omicron, the newest variant of the COVID, the coronavirus, and that's now, I believe, I had heard it's about anyone who has COVID, it's basically about a 95% chance that is the variant that you currently have. So, and obviously numbers too are very high for this variant, both it being kind of the winter time is obviously a time where folks get a little more sick, and this variant is a little bit more omnipresent than some of the others in the past. So at any rate, we don't know exactly what's going on in terms of, if this is going to lead to shutdowns and all that kind of stuff. We're not going to talk about that. What we're going to talk about is right here, how Omicron will affect the housing market, etc. And you can see here, George Ratiu, manager of economic research of Realtor.com, isn't sure but feels optimistic that Omicron won't halt the housing market's momentum, particularly since this variant appears milder than its predecessors. And I'll highlight that. That's a big key point there. Quote, "We are not through it yet, but so far this virus seems to be a lot more contagious, but also a lot less negatively impactful in terms of sickness and death." He also points out the data from epidemics in 1918 and 1950s have also shown that viruses become more contagious and less severe over time. That seems to be kind of a consensus opinion in the scientific community as well. Here we go down here as well. The GDP, quote, the GDP and economy have survived fairly well, Rtiu explains. We're seeing housing weather the variant so far. Retail sales, consumer confidence, and other indicators show guarded optimism in the road ahead. Can confirm retail sales at the beginning of the year, as usual, right after the Christmas rush, have dipped significantly, but not to the point of, closures and all kinds of different things that we've seen, in the middle of this pandemic. So, things, a lot of different sectors are weathering the storm, and a lot of different areas are actually doing relatively well, despite us being 2 years into this pandemic and this variant being a lot more contagious and a lot more present than others. Here we go. Bottom line. I like this right here. I'll highlight it. Even as COVID-19 infection rates climb, most experts aren't bracing for a shutdown like we saw during the first wave of the pandemic in spring of 2020. Obviously, that then makes the housing market, if you remember the housing market at that point in summer of that point, spring, summer, even early parts of fall, that was a little bit of a, for lack of better words, nightmare on the real estate side in terms of being able to show a house. Obviously, everybody wants to be safe. No one wants to spread this thing, et cetera. But, what realtors and brokers had to navigate in the early part of the pandemic in terms of open houses, showings, et cetera, was quite cumbersome. And so that doesn't seem like that's going to be the case despite numbers rising on that. Why Omicron isn't stopping home sellers from listing today? You can see a quote from someone in Connecticut, rather. My quote, "My husband is already retired and we've been dreaming of moving to Maine for a while, but we felt paralyzed by the pandemic. The time didn't feel right in the middle of the crisis, but I think Omicron will be the last surge, and our real estate agent says people are ready to tour and buy despite this current uptick in cases, so we will finally put our house on the market." Let me tell you this from personal experience as well. I went to an open house on New Year's Day, accompanied some buyer clients of mine on New Year's Day that were looking at a house in Corona. Very affordable house, cute home, etc. The open house was scheduled to go from 1 to 4. I think we showed up there about 1:45 to 10 minutes to 1. There were dozens, plural, of groups of people out there looking to go and tour this house. The demand is there. We know right now that there's maybe a little bit of a slow period, especially with a little uncertainty with the Omicron variant right now, but still, as the spring market comes and as the summer market comes, we are still bracing for an uptick, a slight uptick in inventory hitting the market. And of course, demand still remains very, very high. And folks are out there wanting to tour houses, wanting to see houses, wanting to buy houses. So that is something that we need to prepare for. And that is a personal experience that happened to me specifically just a couple of weeks ago. So while there's a lot of information out there, some of it very factual, some of it unfortunately misinformation on a lot of different fronts. The fact of the matter is, as you saw from that Realtor.com article and some experts there, the Omicron variant is not, there's not going to be a foreseeable shutdown of a lot of different things. And the real estate market still seems to be a strong market. And we are still looking to potentially see an uptick in inventory. Obviously, the demand is still there, kind of a bottom line there. All right, let's continue to roll on here. And we're going to bring you some information from our friend Chris Pacheco, who is now part of the Pacheco team, local mortgage brokers here in Southern California. They service Orange County, they service the Inland Empire, they service San Diego, do a lot of good work with veterans, first-time home buyers, kind of run the gamut there, refinances, etc. So definitely want to go check out the Pacheco team. They are currently revamping their website, but it is the pachecoteam.com, I believe, is the website. And Chris Pacheco is a great point of contact for us. He usually sends us these weekly updates in terms of the market and what's going on the mortgage side of things. Here is one from early this week, and you see some of the bullet points here. Job growth last month was weaker than expectations. Private sector payrolls nearly doubled. Jobless claims near 52 year low. CoreLogic Home Price Index showed homes appreciated 1.3% last month. If you listened to one of our previous videos, you had heard that if you had basically from quarter 3 of 21 and before, you have basically appreciated your equity by about 31%. So that's something as a homeowner. So that's something to think about. And that's something, obviously, as a home buyer, you want to get in on at some point, even though the market is aggressive in a lot of different ways. That's something to definitely keep in the back of your mind. Rent report shows 18% year over year hike. Federal Reserve to reduce balance sheet and hiking Fed funds. That was all last week. This week's outlook today, meaning Monday, Richmond Fed president announces approval for March rate hike. Talking about inflation, there's producer price index information, 10 and 30-year bond auction. The rate hike, though, is something really, really to watch. Rates remain very competitive. You'll see that below. Here it is right here. The rates remain very competitive for buyers. And that's why it is still, despite the high prices, high list prices, high sales prices, it is still a great, great time for buyers to get into a home. You got to be competitive. You got to be aggressive. But if you get your loan locked in and you can get some really good rates here, these are, of course, national averages, but you can get some good rates out there as home buyers and get in on this market. You can see conventional 30-year loan, 3.5%, FHA 30-year, 2.875%, jumbo 30-year loan, 4%, a VA 30-year loan, 2.875%, bank statement, 4.25%, debt service coverage, 375%, asset depletion, 4.375%. But you look at those top few numbers there, the top four, essentially you're in the high twos to all the way up to 4% national average. But there are still really, really good rates out there. And hey, even if you aren't really looking to move, you aren't really looking to, get into a bigger house, smaller house, what have you, but you want to refinance to get a better loan rate, you got to contact Chris Pacheco at the Pacheco team. Go give him a call, shoot him an email, go to thepachecoteam.com. Their website is under construction, but he is happy to help you out. A great guy, great resource of information, continues to be very communicative with us to update us on what's going on his side of the industry, and we appreciate that. So thank you, Chris Pacheco, for all of that great information. We're going to keep rolling on here with some more market information courtesy of Reports on Housing. We did a little homework on our end as well, so we will share that with you in terms of MLS numbers in the Orange County area. Here you go. Infographic here from Reports on Housing. The expected market time to start 22, 25 days. Expected market time to start 21, 42 days. So things are moving very, very quickly. There still are as I have looked in the MLS, I know other agents, both within and outside of our brokerage, have looked at the MLS and trying to find different options for buyers. There are still a lot of homes out there that have been sitting for a while. And that's due to either going into escrow once, twice, maybe, and then falling out and re-entering the market. Maybe they got a little aggressive on the front end in terms of pricing, took it off the market, did a little cosmetic work and re-entered the market, or they're just staying very aggressive with their pricing, not budging on that, and the home isn't moving. So that said, look at the difference there. Almost 20 full days, almost 3 full weeks of difference between expected market time to start 22 and expected market time to start 21. And that also, I think that also may play into the mindset for sellers to maybe be a little more inclined to put their house on the market in this year as maybe opposed to last year. They're going to see this kind of information out there and they are going to look at it and say, hey, we were thinking about selling maybe, it's maybe going to take a month or something. And now it looks like it's going to be under a month on average to sell a home. And oftentimes far, far less than that. We're talking, new homes that are priced correctly and in desirable areas are moving within a week a lot of times. So at any rate, the big difference between 22 and 21 expected market time over the 3-year average, 2017 through 2019, obviously not counting the pandemic. 104 days was the expected market average time, 2017 through 2019. Also, the asterisk on the first bullet point there is a record low. So check that out. Interesting stuff. This is a little bit more from Reports on Housing, and we are so grateful for their information. And you can always go to reportsonhousing.com there. So unprecedented start, and this is as of January 10th. So to start off this week, it is an insanely hot sellers market, as we probably knew, but you can see with a ridiculously record low supply of homes, and we'll show you that information on the MLS as of yesterday. The housing market is white hot, record low to start the year. You can see that demand dropped significantly. I think that is playing a little bit into the Omicron thing, and just in general, the holidays, start of a new year, all that kind of stuff. That's just kind of general what happens in a winter market anyway. But as we get into spring, get into summer, and get past the Omicron part, hopefully over the next month or so, we're going to see that demand still being high. And honestly, like I said, at an open house that I attended on New Year's Day, that the demand dropping significantly, I didn't experience that at that particular home. I know that's not across the board, but I think demand still remains pretty high across the board. Closed sales down year over year. As mentioned, hot sellers market, 25 days on average to sell a home in 2022. New benchmark for OC luxury, and obviously the luxury market is, about 1.5 million and above, but the luxury end, all homes above $2 million accounts for 32% of the inventory and only 9% of the demand. The expected market time last year was at 170 days, which is exceptionally hot for luxury, but nearly double where it stands today, indicating just how unbelievably hot the luxury market is today. And again, favorable loans may be able to get folks into homes that are a little higher price, a little bit bigger, moving into a different kind of house. Also, if they're selling their house, they're getting the equity that they accrued in their previous house and being able to parlay that into a bigger house, a luxury home. Maybe they're able to enter the luxury market when they previously were not able to. So something to think about on that. Great stuff from Reports on Housing. Now, we're going to close up the market information portion, and then we're going to get to a community corner in just a second and get on out of here. But before we do, this is our Casa Bella Orange County MLS market update. Here it is right here. Here's the video, and you can see the bullet points here. Coming soon, there are 135. Now, this is as of yesterday. So coming soon, yesterday being Wednesday the 12th, 135, 99 since the first of the year in Orange County. Active, 1,037, 318 since the first of the year. You see AUC, that of course is active under contract, homes that are under contract, 758, 287 of those since the first of the year. Pending, another kind of similar as the active under contract, 1,136, 233 of those since January 1st, the start of the year. Closed 649 of those since January 1st. So again, not a ton on the market, but we expect that to increase. Kind of some takeaways here. Again, some coming soon. And quite honestly, I mean, for the low numbers just kind of across the board, a lot of activity since the first of the year. And I mean, we're less than 2 full weeks into the year. Obviously, some folks weren't working New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, that sort of thing. But, less than 2 weeks into the new year, there's been a bit of activity. And even though the numbers are low in some of those areas, things are moving and shaking. And like I said, it's an aggressive market. And a lot of those numbers kind of show that. So wanted to get you that information as part of the market update as well. So between Chris Pacheco's loan update, the Realtor.com article on the Omicron variant and how that is and is not impacting the real estate market, both nationally and locally, the reports on housing information, and of course, the homework that we as a brokerage did on the MLS in the Orange County area. Hopefully, that gets you set and teed up well for the beginning of the year as we get going here. We're going to get to a community corner, community entity to highlight, and then we are going to get at it. So obviously New Year's resolutions, I thought about highlighting, a local athletic facility, gym, that sort of thing. We've already highlighted, I believe, Lifetime Athletic, which is in Laguna Niguel, a great facility. And, if you're looking, obviously, some people are a little leery going to gyms right now because of COVID and Omicron, et cetera. But, part of being well, either from that or in general, is getting exercise and all that stuff. So we still want to give a shout out to Lifetime Athletic, but we've already highlighted them before on these videos. So we're going to highlight a little bit of fun time stuff, and we're going to highlight a local concert venue in San Juan Capistrano. That is the Coach House, and the Coach House has been a staple of San Juan Capistrano for a really long time. Really cool venue, holds, I don't even know what the capacity is there, maybe 1,000, couple thousand in there. It is kind of down by a little bit down off of Camino Capistrano and Aeropuerto down there. And they have a lot of cool cover bands. They have some big acts that come through there. And, it's an affordable concert venue. You can have a little bit of food, some drinks, good times. And it is a local concert venue. A pretty intimate, cool concert venue in Southern Orange County, and we want to highlight that. And just real quick, some of the things you see: a highlight to Rush, a highlight to the Black Crowes, Beatles and Stones, and these are high quality cover bands. But then you've got acts like Joan Osborne, 90s rocker Joan Osborne. You've got let's see here, I think I saw Herman's Hermits, great 80s band, Drama Rama, if you remember Drama Rama, great 80s band there. You see some acoustic acts and whatnot, different kind of music. You see the Kingston trio. You got kind of a folk trio there. All kinds of different stuff going on here. A recreation of the Grateful Dead, Neil Diamond covers, and all kinds of different the Doors covers. So a lot of cover bands, etc. Kenny Wayne Shepherd, blues rock guy. He's been around for a while, and he's pretty talented. I mentioned Herman's Hermits. So a lot of cool different acts that are out there. And look, as we kind of try and continue to get towards normalcy, these are the types of things that we took for granted before COVID took over. And going to these shows, having a good time, forgetting about certain things, listening to great music, and doing so in a really cool and intimate local venue in Orange County. Really, really cool. You can see there's, a David Bowie cover band, Buck Cherry, 90s and 2000s rock band. They had quite a bit of run there too. So a lot of cool acts here. I recommend you go to the Coach House, check out their schedule, coachhouse.com. You can see all kinds of different acts that they've booked and what they've got going on here as the new year gets rolling on. So we wanted to highlight them as a community entity going on in 2022. Check them out. That's going to do it for us. Hopefully you found this informative. Hopefully you found it helpful as we get going in 2022. Keep it to CasaBellRealtyGroup.com for all your real estate needs. Contact us with any kind of questions, even if it's not about putting your house on the market or searching for a house. If you need some help, if you just want an update on what's going on, anything, we want to help you out. Let us do that for you. Take care. Be healthy. We'll talk to you soon.